I think definitely breakdance, like b-boy going to Olympic will definitely make this market, more rich.
Mm,
More dancers gonna be rich. The image is gonna be better.
mm.
But it doesn't change for the older b-boys. We still do the way we want it.
What do you think about breaking, also known as breakdancing, being in the Olympics?
Oh, Olympics. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think it's a good thing for the community, for the image, marketing image at least.
Hmm.
Uh, of course, breaking comes from like the hood, you know New York people are poor, don't away from gangs. That's a good thing. But like for a lot of different kind of audience, for example, people who born richer, they want to have their kids to learn something, right?
Mm.
So breakdance, they'll be like, oh, okay, this is not for our kids. Our kids should learn like golf, like tennis, whatever. That's so Asian thing to say, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
true. It's true.
I know
So
what you
it's
mean.
so because of breaking, going to Olympics, the image will be way better.
Hmm.
Just for the business wise, it's gonna be 10 times fold.
Hmm.
And in China, it's already crazy, crazy, crazy on the dance market.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous.
Hmm.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Each studio have around like 3,000 to 4,000 students
Oh, jeez.
because they have people, right? But
Yeah, 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 yeah. But
the
still.
system was a little bit different from Japan or all the other world. For Vancouver, probably you pay like a semester when you go to studio, right? In
Hmm.
Japan, it's monthly fee.
Hmm.
In China, is how many classes. They sell 300 classes all at once. You have to buy all at once, no refund. So you count as one student. But if you're active or not, we don't care.
Right. So they lock
So
you into a certain amount, right?
yes, and that costs a lot of money. Maybe you probably pay about like 3,000 all at once times 4,000 students.
Mm.
That's some serious amount, right?
Yeah, yeah.
In China, it's like because also breaking is in Olympic, the business is already booming,
Hmm.
and because there's a TV show about dance.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's I don't know because I can read Chinese and stuff. I know where to look at it.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, there's a lot on YouTube.
Hmm.
You look at it, the name is like robot dance. The name whack, like it's so cheesy. They don't know. They don't have any knowledge, right?
Right,
They
right.
making that show for the normal audience, but the thing is, because of that TV show, everyone make 10, 20 times more
Hmm.
compared.
Yeah.
A dance teacher can make like 4, 5G, 6, 7G a month. It's it's easy, like in China.
Huh.
I think definitely breakdance, like b-boy going to Olympic will definitely make this market, more rich.
Mm.
More dancers gonna be rich. The image is gonna be better.
Mm.
But it doesn't change for the older b-boys. We still do the way we want it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it doesn't change for us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I
What do you
think
think? What do you think?
why I actually just talked about this with Ayumi the other day,
Yeah.
and we were talking about this. And then, I've been, everyone is talking about it, or any dancers are talking about it, anybody involved in the breaking community. Uh, I've read a lot of interesting opinions and stuff, but you know, most most people, and I kind of share this opinion, is that they think it's a good thing. You just got to be careful how you present it,
Mm.
and you don't want to make the same mistake that what happened in like the 80s when it first got mass exposure,
Yeah.
And as long as there's good people who care about the culture and the direction that it goes, that but that also want to push it forward into, like, like you said, into some areas that will legitimize it more in the eyes of the, general public. Like, there's I think there's you got to balance that thing of like keeping it real versus
Yeah.
like pushing pushing
Just for
things
fun.
forward and giving people more opportunities, and like allowing something to grow rather than like keeping it in this box of like, this is how it is and this is how it's going to stay and forever, you know. So having something like the Olympics with people who are involved heavily in the community also be part of that, like, I don't know, committee that's
Yeah.
there, that what is it, IOC is like getting advice from how to do this or how to like push it forward, stuff like that. It's making, I think this is one of the biggest things from the Olympics, is like people actually have to figure out what is breaking and
Yeah.
define it more, because like in some ways that's kind of the cool thing, and I've mentioned this a lot in a lot of these talks and stuff. Like, part of what makes breaking cool is that there's a very loose definition of it, and so it allows people to be really creative and like very yeah, loose with the way that they go about it, right?
Yes.
And but sometimes people are like, that's not breaking, or this is breaking, whatever, right? But that's kind of like the beauty of it, right? Is that
Yes.
it's open to everyone's interpretation. But with the Olympics, like, yeah, maybe just for the Olympics, it's going to create maybe not necessarily like a specific way to do it, but it'll have, well, kind of like, it'll be more like, all right, you can't do like uh I don't know, like really super abstract kind of crazy weird stuff that's like veering off into like some other kind of dance, which is cool. Like, that's an art thing, and like, pushing that boundary. But maybe for the Olympics, like, well, you got to really define it and be like, this is what breaking is. And that's, I don't know, I think that's cool that people are actually starting to really think about, okay, well, what is biting? Let's talk about how you define biting. If that's a
Mm.
rule that you have, how do you define it?
Yeah.
When is it a bite? When is it not? What is, because for the longest time you see people talk about these kinds of things, and it's like they don't know. It's the kind of thing where I don't think people know how to explain it. They know how to like feel it. They
Yeah.
know like, or like, what is vibe, what is like freestyle, what is any of
That
these
is so
things,
hard.
right? Like, to explain and really break these things down to someone who doesn't know, it's really
And to
hard.
different languages.
And then yeah, and then to translate and like
Yeah.
localize it into these other languages, you know you need people to actually start thinking about it, like, and that, like, I don't know, that's good for me too, because I just like doing that. I like kind of nerding out on these kinds of things.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, I know, you can have people who do that too much, and then they're not like directly involved in the culture per se. So it's like sports fans, for example.
Yes.
They can get really into it and know everything about it and know like, oh, this is the right way to do it, this is not the right way, whatever, that kind of thing, and they can be very vocal. And then they've never played a game of like basketball or whatever sport they're talking about, or they like, you know barely,
They don't know how to do it,
they're
but
not
they
really like
have a lot of talent,
involved.
right?
Yeah, yeah, exactly, so like, that's just something that's going to happen when you if you want to push this to the mass public. Like, you're going to get
Yes.
fans, which is
Yes.
cool, but like, you're going to get all kinds of fans,
Yes.
right?
All kinds of fans. Good fans, weird fans, haters,
Haters, like, I mean, haters are already exist.
everywhere, right? Yeah, everywhere.
Yeah, but like, I think it's a good step forward, and as
Yes.
long as people take it seriously and like be active in like, voicing their opinions and putting information out there too. So
Yes.
like, you know, people can complain like, oh, people don't know what's up, they don't know the real deal. Okay, well, make a video explaining it and put it out
Yeah.
on YouTube and make it public. you know?
This is the same thing with there was a big news about like, oh, human killing the earth. There's a little girl traveling around the world
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
teaching about human killing earth, but she didn't give the solution.
Yeah,
She's,
yeah,
you guys are killing the earth, but there's
yeah.
no solution. And if you're traveling around the world with what, airplane, you're destroying the earth,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
yeah.
So you have to think about that. But for young age kids, oh, we have to stop this. But wait a minute, you have to think about it. So we should stop the ambulance because
Well, it's
you know,
like things are a lot more complicated than,
yes,
this like
and
kind of
just complaining, right?
emotional kind of just, oh, you're bad people and you're polluting the earth, and it's like, okay, what's the way
The
forward?
solution. Yeah,
How do we fix this then?
I super agree with you. Like, if they don't like it, make a video, talk about it. I think that's action, right? Action will solve slowly,
Yeah,
have a, you know, educate the publics.
yeah. Well,
So
I
I think
mean,
that's very important.
yeah, like I was talking about this with Pieces. I don't know if you've ever met Pieces, but he's this guy from Toronto and very
Ah, pieces.
interesting.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and we were just,
He's a
yeah,
crazy
yeah,
guy.
yeah, Stacks and
Yeah.
Unity Charity, and now he's on to his new thing. But anyway, um, yeah, and we talked about this kind of thing too, like, whatever your vision of the scene or what you think breaking should be, like, you shouldn't. I mean, talking is one part, but you gotta like take action and be the kind of change that you want to see. You want the scene to be this way. Okay, throw a jam that has
Yeah.
the vibe that you like, that you think is right. And if it's really good, it'll stick and it'll click with people and they'll want to do it and it'll get bigger. But
Yes.
like you can't just sit there and complain and be like, back in my day, blah 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 blah. Well, okay, show people what's up, educate people, be active in the community instead of just complaining. And I think, most people are like that,
Mhm.
but there's always just some people who are gonna complain, or they feel like they got, overlooked for whatever reason. But
Yes.
you know, there's usually a reason why you get overlooked. Right? And you
Yes.
gotta you gotta I think this is one thing that's like maybe kind of separate. I think that this one thing needs to happen too, is like people's own, like, I don't know, almost like self therapy. They gotta figure out like their own shit before they start, like, criticizing how this should be, or I
Yes.
was wronged in this way. It's like maybe
I'm
you did
thinking
something.
Olympic is gonna become like there will be a group of people who's very into Olympic, and there will be local jams. Just
Yeah,
like
of course.
so, Olympic b-boys might not join the local jams because they might lose, or they might just go for practice. But it's their freedom, right? So it's
Yeah,
totally fine, and
yeah,
it's the judges' freedom. If you are in the judge panel, you can say this. You can close your eyes and say this guy lost. Doesn't matter because that's breaking, right? Welcome to the breaking world. So you can close your eye and just say like this guy win, and if people talk about because I like his style, doesn't really matter because it's
yeah,
no definition about who wins or who not.
yeah,
It's breaking, right? But Olympic will be very different. You have a
yeah, for
score
sure,
point. Maybe some
for
people
sure.
prefer that way, right? So they will go toward that route.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And like, this also gets brought up to the, the Olympics is just one event that
Yeah.
exists, and it's not like the be all end all. A lot of people are like, this is either going to save the breaking scene and do all this stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just, if it continues, like if they keep it in the Olympics, like it's one event that happens every 4 years.
Yes.
And you still, like, I was talking about this the other day, and many people have mentioned this before too, like you have all kinds of sports in the Olympics, right? Like
Yes.
baseball is in the Olympics, I think, right?
Yeah. I think they're gonna lose their spot.
Oh, really? Well, okay, you got basketball and like hockey and all these things, right? All these major sports. I think soccer's in there too.
Yes, I think
And
so.
but you still have the NBA, you still have the NHL, the FIFA, like all these major leagues.
Yes,
And like there's amateur like wrestling, and you still got WWE and AEW and
I know you're
whatever,
pretty into wrestling.
ROH, and that's the real. There's still like pro wrestling, So
Yes,
like the Olympics is, it can be something that legitimizes you in the public eye, like you said, right? You become Olympic champ, but maybe like you're just kind of like a person in the breaking community, but you got to win that championship,
yeah,
right? Or that medal, you got a medal, right? And that's something that when you're looking for work as a dancer, you can be like, hey, I was an Olympic gold medalist.
yes.
Like,
That's big difference. Very big.
how can you can't really knock that, right? Like, Olympic gold medalist. That's looks pretty good on a dance resume.
Yeah, public image, very
Yeah.
important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Or, like if you're, like you said, it's just another way to legitimize it in the public image. Yeah. I think that's the best way to look at it.
yes.
Yeah.
Good and bad, but mostly good, I think.
Yeah. I think
Mostly.
so. There's
Yes.
bad to, the things that people think are good, right? I'll keep it real
Yes.
and, have this raw underground jam. Well, the bad side is like it stays underground, right?
Yeah.
Like, or it's harder to get mainstream appeal, and mainstream
Yes.
appeal is how you make more money and make things
Yeah.
bigger and whatever, right?
Now really vibe.